we go. Just let the guys funnel in for a bit.
Sure.
So see if they come through.
No worries.
Yeah, I'll just give them a second. Yeah.
Take your time. No rush. I got time allocated for you here, so
Nice.
you're good. I have my in-law's dog here, so if he barks, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, we'll give them. So I want to make sure it is live. Everything's grafting. Okay, cool. Okay, what's up, traders? Just let us know if you can hear us, see us.
What's up, everyone?
Yeah, so I got Andre with me from Edgefill. You guys have heard me speak about Edgefill on my streams and on my weekly reviews. Just give us a thumbs up if you can hear us all good in the chat. Yeah. So you should be able to see Andre as well, right? You should be able to see him as well. But yeah, welcome to this weekly review. We're going to speak about my week in a minute. But I thought I'd get Andre on, come speak about, okay, sound is perfect. Perfect, thanks bro, appreciate it. I thought I'd get Andre on and come speak about how he is using Edgefill in his own trading, but also how traders have given him feedback, obviously being the CEO of Edgefill, have given him feedback on how Edgefill has helped their trading decisions on the trading day. So if you can go ahead and share your screen, Andre, and then yeah, walk through some of the good aspects of Edgefill, what you have seen in your clients at the minute.
Sure. So, can you see this okay?
Yes, sir. You should be able to see that, guys. Yep.
Perfect. So, just for those of you who don't know, my name is Andre. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Edgefill. My background is in finance and accounting. I was an analyst at a hedge fund in Boston called Weiss Asset Management. I was also an analyst at Goldman Sachs for 2 years. I left Goldman and I started to trade. And while I was learning the concepts of trading, I came across the concept of the gap fill, which some of you might be familiar with. But it's a pretty straightforward, pretty simple strategy and something that's like very easy to see on a chart. And what was very common in the space, in like the trading space, was like, oh yeah, the gap always fills, like gaps always fill. But that obviously doesn't happen. And what I wanted to know was how often do they fill? And given my background, I have a ton of experience with data. Obviously, like working in finance, you have to. And I started to download the data myself and to put together these reports myself. Eventually, I was doing it in Excel, and eventually it became to the point where Excel was not able to handle these types of reports anymore. So I went online, looked for a product that can show me how often do gaps fill, how often do certain weekdays close red or green? Or how often, if we break yesterday's high, are we going to close green? And there's nothing like that. So that's kind of like the story of Edgeful and the story of how this company was founded.
Nice.
Is we want to show you the probabilities and show you how often these things happen so you could take advantage of them and be on the right side of the trade.
Brilliant.
But everyone can still see my screen, right?
Yes, sir. We can still see it. Yep.
Perfect. So quick overview of how everything is laid out. Right here is your main driver, your steering wheel for the site. So right here, there are stocks, we have Forex, and we also have futures. So just before I go into some of these reports that are going to be helpful to you guys, I want to just make sure that everyone knows to look at the session. So here we have the New York session selected, and it's very important that you pay attention to what session you have, because that's only going to show you the data for the New York sessions and not the data in between. If you want to switch to the London session or the Sydney session, you can, and then that is going to change. Like right now we're looking at the London session. So here we switch to London session, and now you'll be looking at what's within these green boxes. So it's just a visual representation of what is actually being pulled inside of here. So always keep in mind what session you have loaded here. I just want to start with that, it's very important.
Yep.
So James, are there any reports that you'd want me to kind of run through some of your favorites?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to just kind of go?
So, yeah, brilliant. I've just asked also the guys in the chat. Let me know if you got any questions for Andre. We'd love to cover it here on stream. So let me know in the chat if you guys have any questions, if you guys would like to maybe got any ideas of adding something to the reports, or if you want to, if maybe have a question and we can pull up the report, because they've done a great job at this report section. But so one of the reports that I do like is previous days high and low. So if you go over there, yep, so previous days range, correct, yep, previous days range. This is something that I like using, and it's really, really good because you hear me on my streams when I'm trading with you guys, speaking about, waiting for previous days high to be taken out or low to be taken out when trading short or long. So speak a little bit about this as well, Andre, and how this helps traders make decisions as well.
Perfect. So is there a pair you want me to look at?
Yeah, maybe let's compare a pair maybe like GJ compared to a pair maybe like, I don't know, AU. We can look at GJ and then AU. Because obviously different pairs trend differently, same as like different stocks will have different characteristics, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So GJ, I'll actually just pull it up here too. And I'll pull it up on Owanda. Just so everyone knows, I know this is like a very big thing in Forex. Our data is from Owanda, so just keep that in mind. All the data you see in here is from Owanda. It's not from Forex.com or whatever else.
Yep.
So here we're looking at GJ, and what this report shows is for every time we take out, I'll do this on the daily time frame here. So this shows every time that we take out the previous day's high. So here we're saying previous day's high is broken. 77% of the time in the last year, we have closed green on the day. So it's very important to look here. I'll try to show you a good example. Here we opened between yesterday's range. In this case here, let me zoom in a little bit. We broke the high, we closed green. In this case, we didn't break the high and then we closed red. So it's very important to understand that there's very significant levels at yesterday's high and low. So when the high gets broken, when yesterday's high gets broken, that's a very bullish signal, because almost 80% of the time today will close green. The opposite is also true, where if we break yesterday's low, that is a very bearish signal. You do not want to start fighting to be bullish and fighting for longs when we break yesterday's low, because 73% of the time in the last year, we have closed red on the day. So understanding the overall trend of the day and understanding the patterns, that these are very significant levels. Once the high or low gets broken, that is a very strong signal for a certain direction. So don't fight it, because in trading, the consistency comes by sticking with the averages where they're on your side.
Yep.
There will obviously be days where we break the previous day's high and then we close red, but it's very unlikely. And you're going to lose a lot of money trying to bank on these days happening when almost 80% of the time you have a layup trade that's that's like right there for you.
Yep.
It's a very easy trade. Once you break the high, you can become bullish. So that's the way that I like to use this personally, is to set my levels, understand where my bias changes after we break these levels.
Yeah, I love that. I think this has been a big thing for me as well. Another stat that I do like, you can also look at it by weekday, right? So show them that as well, Andre.
Yeah. So if you ever see any bubbles up here, that is a variant of the report. So it's kind of like a sub-report. And we always will have a standard, and then we have a by weekday. And what this allows you to do is look at only specific weekdays. So right here, we're looking at Mondays. This is how you can switch down here. This is how you can switch from different weekdays. So what you'll notice is that different weekdays have different personalities, and they behave very differently. So you can see that Fridays actually are much more likely to close green that if they break previous day's low than any other weekday.
Yep.
So just look at how this changes as I go through.
Yeah, it fluctuates. Yep.
Yeah.
So that one that Andre was showing first is the standard one over all the days, right? This is per day, the next one.
Correct. Yeah. So this is the standard. This like adds together all the weekdays, and then this allows you to look at by a certain weekday.
Look at that one on Friday on GJ. 88% of the time, if you take out Thursday's high, we close as a bullish close on Friday.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Another interesting stat that I personally like using, we've got some questions in the chat here as well, Andre, but another one that I like using is volume. So if you just go to volume, simple, because I think this is something that when we first got on a call, I think we got on a call at the end of last year, I believe it was December, it was, it was very interesting to see that my statistics for 2023, I was struggling on like Mondays and Tuesdays, but then my easy layup trades were coming on Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and it's something very interesting. Look how the volume picks up here as the week goes on.
Yes, so it's very important to trade a weekday by its personality and as it behaves. So I'll just kind of explain what that means. Where this report here shows the average volume, which are the blue bars, and then the average range, which is this white line, by weekday. So what you can see clearly that Mondays have the lowest volume and the lowest range of any weekday. So what does that mean? Low volume means choppy price action, no continuation. There's barcode-like garbage price action that you're just going to get faked out probably, and there's no real clean, nice moves in the price action. Small range means that there is literally less meat on the bone. There is literally less opportunity, which means that you need to be very specific with your entries and your exits in order to make money. So that's not a favorable environment to trade in. Whereas you go later into the week, there's higher volume and there's higher range. So what does that mean? Higher volume means that there can be a lot more momentum. There's a lot more, the moves are a lot cleaner. They're a lot easier to trade. When there's a high range, that means that there's more meat on the bone. So you need to be less precise with your entries and your exits. You can set your profit targets a little bit further out. It's just a much more favorable environment to trade in. Whereas, I mean, like even today is a Monday. I mean, today's price action was horrible. I'm not sure about Forex specifically, but like the futures and the stocks and ETFs were garbage today.
Yep.
So, and today's a Monday, and you should expect low volume and low range on Mondays. So sizing, this can help you with your sizing. So if you do see a good setup on a Monday, you may not want to go in full size. Or with profit targets, for example, you don't want to set your profit targets very far away as you would on a day with a lot of volume and a lot of volatility, because it's probably not going to get there because the range is smaller. So there is literally less opportunity on a Monday. Whereas later in the week, you can use bigger size because you can expect a larger move. You can set your profit targets a bit further out. You can leave runners maybe. And it's just very important to understand that not every weekday behaves the same, and you should not trade them the same way, because the market doesn't know about you and it doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about any of us. It behaves the way it does, and you need to adapt to that, and that's what this report really helps you understand. Yeah,
spot on. I like that. There was quite a big range today on the Forex pairs, but I think it changes. It's always going to change. But I think the nice thing about this is an on average. Remember, everything in trading is about probabilities, guys. So you can't. There's going to be outliers, of course. So we got some questions here, Andre. One, Otto. So Otto is one of the guys. He was in our private mentorship and he's in part of our community. He's asking, is there any information for inside days that could be helpful? Sorry if that's too broad of a question. So I know that you do. Yeah. So walk him through the inside days and what data you have on that.
Sure. So this is within. So we have 3 different report types. Just to take a step back a little bit, 3 different report types. We have price action, we have volume, and we have indicators. Right now, we're in the price action report type. And then when you click on this, this will drop down all of the price action reports we have. And the one I went to was inside bars. This is one we just released. So we have 2 reports for inside bars. You can see that for GJ in the last year, only 18% of all days have been inside bars, which just means within yesterday's range. Here's an example of
Yep.
Let me just make this bigger here. So this, you can see here, this is the high of this candle. That's the low of this candle. So you can see from these 2 right here,
Yep.
you can see that this was an inside day. This one right here that I'm hovering over it was an inside day.
Yes.
So that only happens 18% of the time. So the way that you can use this is to say, I'm expecting one of the sides of yesterday's range to break, because historically it will break one of the sides. You don't want to take a trade expecting inside days to occur, because historically they're not going to. Now again, 18% of the time, obviously it happens, but you want to play the averages. You want to be consistent over the long term and not try to go for the outliers. You never want to go for the days that are like on the lower end of the averages.
Correct.
I'm going to just go into the by breakout report here. And what this shows is for every day that opens within yesterday's range has the potential to be an inside bar. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Before I continue?
Yep.
So just for a visual representation, every single day that opens, like a good example. So just to break it down, every day that opens between yesterday's high and low has the potential today to be an inside bar. So
Correct.
This report shows every single time that prices open between yesterday's high and low, and you can see that 49% of the time we've touched the high, 41% of the time we've touched the low, previous day's low, and this is where it's very important. This is the important one right here. Less than 10% of the time we have touched both the high and the low.
Yeah.
So once one of the high or the low get touched, you should not expect the other side to also be touched. So if you want to set your profit targets, if you see a rejection off of yesterday's high, you do not want to set your profit targets at yesterday's low, because that is very unlikely to happen. It's very unlikely that we're going to retrace all the way back down to yesterday's low as well. So put yourself in a position to succeed and to take a green trade. And if you do find a good short entry and you want to scalp it, that's totally fine. But do not set your profit targets at the opposite side of that range, because it only happens less than 10% of the time. So it's not something you want to go for.
Yep.
That makes sense.
That makes
Any
sense.
questions on
Let me
that?
know in the chat if that makes sense, Otto. Let me know, bro. I think that's well explained, Andre. Just let me know in the chat there, Otto. But let's go to, so another question. Can we see red and green days for Euro JPY?
Yes.
Okay, let's have a look at that. Instead, interested to see if we can avoid chopping pairs. Yeah, sure. Let's have a look. So, yep, daily.
Their session that we want to look at?
You can look at by, this is the cool thing. You can look at it by session or day. Let's look at it by day. So there you go. On Fridays, look how bullish Fridays are on EJ in the last year. I think, compared to the other days. Thursday has been a pretty much of actually more bearish than bullish. And if we can just see consecutive green and red days, there's also that stat, which is quite cool.
Yeah,
green and red streaks.
We just renamed it. We renamed it to green and red streaks.
Yep.
And what this one shows is the average consecutive days in a certain direction.
Yep.
So what you can see here is that just over two. You can expect just over 2 consecutive green days before seeing a red day.
Yes.
That's
On
right
average.
here. And then on average, correct.
Yep.
And then here you can expect, this is the average red days in the last year. You can expect just around 2 consecutive red days before you see a green day.
Yep.
So we also have the max here and here. So the max consecutive green days in the last year was 5 consecutive days. And then the max consecutive red days for EJ is 9. So this kind of gives you the maxes are not, you never want to expect them to happen, but this gives you a frame of mind to say, okay, we've had 3 or 4 green days consecutive. I'm very much expecting tomorrow to be red, because you know that this is the most that has ever happened. And then same thing here, like this is maybe even a better example to say, there's been 3 consecutive green days or 4 consecutive, 3 consecutive or 4 consecutive red days.
Yes.
I'm not expecting it to get to 9 because it's very far out.
Yeah.
It's a very big difference from the average. So this kind of helps you set the proper expectation to say, I should never hold, just because you're like very far, you're like very green on a certain trade, it doesn't mean that you should just like unrealistically set your profit targets
Yes.
very far away or hold it for too long just because you're very green, when like in reality, you might start to get back profits if you just start to get emotional about the trade.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, yeah, Otto said that makes sense, 100%. Okay, so we've got another one here. Does Edgeful have any info that factors in news? That's another good question.
Great, that's a great question. So that's something that we're building out. It's on the product roadmap. And what we're going to do with it is, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we're going to have a lot more around economic announcements and about news itself. I don't know how much, I mean, James, you can tell me actually, in Forex, do you guys pay attention to news a lot? Is it more like macroeconomic news?
Yeah.
What do you guys look at?
Yeah, for sure. We definitely pay attention to the news that can impact price action, of course. Like the first 2 weeks of the month, we always have NFP, so non-farm payrolls, the first Friday of every month. Yeah. And then we have CPIs, tends to be the second week of the month, as well as FOMC, right? So yeah, that definitely does impact. Like we always tell the guys that we mentor, don't look to be aggressive first week of the month because we have NFP. Price can be a little bit more choppy before NFP releases. But you do have a news release, I think, like price action before NFP or CPI news releases, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, the FOMC performance. There we go. Yep.
Yeah, we only have this by. We have the economic data announcement ones for stocks.
Stocks, yes, that's right. Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So you're going to get it for the other pair. Yeah, because definitely
I'll actually just show you. I'll show
Yep.
the team, the group here, what I'm talking about. Where is it actually? Economic data announcements. I'm not missing it right now. Where is it? Oh, it's in volume. It's in volume. That's why.
There we go. Yep,
Okay.
Yep.
So, actually, it might be in Forex. Let's see.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Brilliant.
Perfect. So I'll go back to EJ. And what this report will show you is, so now we're looking at CPI. We're looking at the CPI announcement right here.
Yep.
And then what this will show you is, how does volume change leading up to a CPI announcement, and then the day of CPI, and then after. So here's a really good example. This May of 2023 is a great example. I mean, so is January of 24, but you can see that there's lower volume before the announcement. So this darker blue bar is the day of CPI. So most likely what's going to happen the days before CPI is that price action is going to be very choppy, because all the institutions and all the big money is waiting for the data to come out so then they can start to jump in. Where most of the time, the days leading up to CPI are going to be extremely choppy and not have a lot of opportunity, where, I mean, you can see it practically every single time, the darkest blue bar is the highest. So always leading up to the day of CPI, volume is lower. And January is a perfect example. Price set, like the volume is very low, and then the dark blue bar, the volume on CPI day was very high.
Yeah.
Then the day after CPI tends to have a little bit of a dip in volume too, which probably means that people have either made or lost a lot of money and they're taking a little step back, they're taking a breather. So the real opportunity day is this darkest blue bar and the date of the announcement.
Yes. Yep. Nice. But again, look how the volume is so low compared to the pre-release. So trading a day before, it's not a good idea to be aggressive pre-release of economic data like that. So I've got another good question here. How does Edgefill deal with dojis when it comes to green and red streaks? Is there a minimum pip count, or is that all that matters if it closed bullish or bearish? By my understanding, it doesn't matter if it's a doji candle. It just matters if the close is higher than the open, and that's correct. Bullish. Yep, correct.
Correct. That's exactly right. Yep. That's
okay.
Right.
Yeah, I think Edgefill has helped me a lot, because a lot of the stuff that we actually say, you know, guys say, well, I trade every single day of the week and it doesn't matter if there's a news release. Well, the stats tell you otherwise. You shouldn't be aggressive. For example, there's low volume days on a Monday, right? You shouldn't be looking to be aggressive out the gates on a first day of the week. Build into the week, get aggressive as the week goes down. But yeah, what I like about Edgefill is that you can't argue with the statistics, right? The stats are in front of you. I always have that saying: the men lie, women lie, but the numbers don't, right? So when it's in front of you, you can't argue that. But yeah, how have you found the other traders, like the feedback that you've got from other traders? Are there any other things that you got in the works, the pipelines at the moment?
Yeah, there's one report that you had requested that I'd love to cover, and then I can go into the other features that we have too.
Sure.
It'll be really quick, but what this report shows is the correlation between the London and the New York session. So for every time in the last year that London has closed green, for EJ in the last year, every time London has closed green, New York has closed green 90% of the time. Same thing, the opposite side of that. For every time London has closed red, New York has closed red 88% of the time. So that's something, James, a great report request from you, but this is something that's very, very helpful. You can look at, if you trade the New York session, you can look at London and say, okay, London was red. I'm expecting New York to be red. There's a very strong correlation between these two. I can expect this to be red, and you can have a more bearish bias.
Yes.
If anyone has any questions on that, I can answer. But otherwise, I'll go into kind of the more things that are coming.
He has another good question. No, I think I like this. I use this a lot. I'm also looking forward to so I have requested some other data from Andre that he's going to be able to, Edgefill are going to be coming out with as well, in terms of Asian range breaks, and you'll see it once it gets released. But I think the cool thing about it is using the data to actually make good trading decisions and know when to attack and when to defend on the desk. So I've got another question here, Andre. Hi, James. Does Edgefill also cover Bitcoin stats?
We do not have crypto at the moment. We're looking to add it. Whenever we do add it, we're only going to have the major players like BTC, ETH, probably XRP, Solana, because getting the data for the other ones is, like all the meme coins, is not something we're going to be able to do.
What about Dogecoin?
I mean, that's possible, honestly, and maybe Shiba, but we're going to have to stick to the larger names.
Yes, larger caps.
Getting the data is going to be really hard otherwise.
Yeah, because I do know a lot of guys do trade Bitcoin in our community as well, and maybe Ethereum, but Bitcoin, they do like Bitcoin and sometimes Ethereum as well. So yeah, that's a good question there, Johan. But yeah, is there anything else that you would like to cover on stream, Andre? But just so you guys do know, we're going to have Andre on ASFX TV, our streaming platform. You can watch me stream there on Wednesdays and Fridays. And then obviously Mondays now as well, once a month with Andre on ASFX TV, and then another time a month on YouTube. So make sure to subscribe here as well. And then you can check me on ASFX TV if you'd like to watch me trade more there and check Andre as well. But yeah, anything else that you wanted to cover, Andre?
The only thing that I'll say now is that we have a lot of new reports that are coming, and a lot of new feature enhancements that are coming as well. So a lot more customizability for the users. So the ability to favorite certain reports, build a strategy into Edgefill itself. So being able to combine different reports, put them into like a strategy overall, where you can start to see different data in that form. Sure. And then full customizability on how the reports get measured. So in this case, like for a gap fill, for example, everything is measured based on, and I won't go into the details, but everything is measured on the previous day's closing price.
Yep.
And if you like to go based off of yesterday's high, then you'd be able to just go in and change that. Or if you use a moving average, and then, for example, we have a moving average report for stocks right now, and it's based off of the 50 SMA. Let's say you wanted to use a 200, or you wanted to use the 20, whatever it is. You'd be able to go in and change that yourself to whatever you wanted. So a huge update with customizability is coming soon. So just keep that in mind. And if anyone has any requests, any report requests, we build them completely for free. So all you have to do is click this button here and send us a message on whatever you want us to build, and we will build it out. And I mean, James, you know, you've gotten like multiple reports built now. Yeah. So it's a very quick process. So if there's something that we don't have in here that's relevant to you and your trading, we can build it for you, and then you'll be able to actually trade with data and not like just your gut or your emotions anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I'll say.
I think it's no, very well put. I think it's a good thing because obviously being a discretionary trader, you still want to have some statistics in your favor as well, and know the statistics, even being a discretionary trader. So yeah, I think no, 100%, Andre. I think that was really, really good. As I said, we're going to have Andre on ASFX TV next week. Sorry, 2 weeks time on the 6th of May as well. So make sure to check him out there as well. And maybe you can also chop it up and speak some markets. I know that you also trade yourself as well, Andre. So it will be quite cool to get to speak as well on there. But I think, thanks for coming on, Andre. We'll see you then in 2 weeks time.
Perfect. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Perfect.
Head out.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time, Andre. We'll see you then. Right, have a good one. Cheers, brother. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, cool, guys. So that was Andre from Edgeful. So we're gonna cover my week last week as well, and then this is what these Mondays are gonna be at. We have last week we had Evan, this week we had Andre. We're gonna have other traders on as well as we get into it. So this is just the second time that we all going live. I appreciate the sound. Sorry, I apologize for the sound in the beginning. It was, I'm still new to this tech brew stuff, but 100%. Let's see, James, can you integrate Traders Connect to use Edgefill to optimize FTMO Top Step Challenge and funded accounts on Dominex? I'm not too sure how you would, because Traders Connect is a trade copier. So I'm not too sure how Edgefill and Traders Connect can do that. Edgefill is a statistics-based platform, and Traders Connect is the trade copier. But maybe hit me up on Twitter and let me know how you think those two can go together. But yeah, perfect. Let's speak about my week. So as you can see, last week started off with a losing day on Monday, and these have a few accounts built in together. That's why there are many trades. Few losing trade on Monday on GCAD, followed by a solid winning week. Obviously today is the 22nd of April, right? A winning week overall, as you can see, to about 2.35%, so down 1.31, then up 1.51, and then a solid 1% gainers to end the week. So really, really solid trading. So let's walk through my trades that I did have, and the first one was GCAD on Monday, and this is why I like using Edgefill's data. So this was Edgefill's data, Monday being a slower trading day, right? Lower volume, trying to be a bit more aggressive later on in the afternoon. This was at 3:35 South African time, so this is during New York time. So a little bit more of a tougher trade, second day play. End up getting over here out for a loss. I have been risking more on my trades. This was a 2% risk on this. I end up losing a 1.31. So I got out. So the loss here on GCAD, break of the Asian range. I could have been shorting at maybe half the highs. I think this could have probably been better. Otto says what a bounce back on the 16th. So this is the 16th. Again, the best pairs for me have been the yen crosses in the last year. I've been finding a lot of my winning trades and winning days coming from yen cross pairs. I really have been enjoying a smaller condensed watch list. GU, GCAD, GJ, and EJ. The yen crosses have been my money maker, but these 4 pairs have been my money makers in the last year or so. I went through my funded accounts that I have with FTMO and a few others, some challenge accounts even, some and personal trading accounts, a wide variety of personal trading accounts that I do have. And Euro, JPY, GJ tend to be my winning, where my winners are coming from. So nice place to the high side here. Second day play, we close bullish here on the Monday, and we have nice bullish price action. Clear, look at the steps higher. Clear price action above that 5-minute 200 EMA. This is the 5-minute chart. Same as GJ. We had GBP news here, and then look at this clear bullish price action here all day. So nice setup on the loss, just maybe a later on an afternoon on a Monday, not ideal compared to, we'll see GCAD on the Thursday. So that was my Tuesday. Let's go to the Wednesday again. Buying EJ again, third day play. Remember, my best trades are second day and third day plays, right? So buying it again, we get a dip down to the low. This was live on stream. I didn't like it for longs, and then we get a pullback to the 5-minute 21 EMA. A2, I'm in here. I got back out and I got back in again, and we get the run up. So second and third day plays, but again, where is the 15-minute 200 EMA? If we're above it, I'm looking for longs. If we're below it, I'm looking for shorts, right? And then what is price action actually doing? Does price action actually agree with the EMA bias? You can't just be right. You can't just be shorting and buying just because it's a second or third day play. You need actual price action to be agreeing with the EMA bias, right? Okay, cool. Let me know if that makes sense. Do you have any questions for some of these trades that I've taken so far? I do want to make sure that I cover these because, again, this is why I like doing this live and going over my weekly reviews live, because you get to actually ask questions live on stream. So let me know if you've got any questions so far. I'll give it a little bit of a before we head off to the next trades. So, any questions at the moment? Okay, cool. So, no questions for now. Let me know if there is, but we'll go over this was now Thursday, my last trades of the week. GU for longs and GCAD for shorts. And all of these trades are planned the night before. Why? Because I look at the previous day's close. Look at H4 stats, look at previous day's close based on my rules, and I can actually look to plan and trade the next day. So this was a nice break and retest of the Asian range, but we just didn't get any follow through, and we did have USD not breaking news, we did have scheduled news here later on in the afternoon. So closed here after news, just before news, before running down. I was actually streaming live on YouTube this day, and I ended up putting out before news, right? So this was a second day play, just no follow through. GCAD as well. This was a bearish day yesterday, second day play underneath the 15-minute 200 EMA, and I had a nice short to the downside. I don't know why I am not getting my other markup on that. Sorry, I just want to show you the 5-minute chart, right? I do want to show you the 5-minute chart. Let me just wait for this to load. GCAD 5-minute. I don't know why that's showing the 15-minute chart. Clearly I didn't put the 5-minute chart in here. What we can do is this. Bring it up. Sorry, just apologies. I do want to make sure we speak about this. I think this is really, really important, but I will cover your questions about Asian range now. Just want to speak about my trades on the 5-minute chart here. Okay, here we go, GCAD 5 minutes. Boom, here's the 5-minute chart on GCAD. So, this is what I do like about GCAD, right? Look at this. Break of the Asian range, we've been chopping all day, but underneath the 15-minute 200 EMA, as you saw, break of the Asian range to the high side, pull back down, and I like to continue. Look at the steps lower. Pull back to the 5-minute 21 EMA, and I found my entry here, and I even added in. So I like using the 50-minute 200 EMA for my bias and the 5-minute for my entries and exits. 5-minute 21 EMA, I like to take positions around at that level, right? So pull back to that 21 EMA, I'm in. Look where the L50 is in the sell zone. brilliant trade on that, right? I really enjoyed that. So good pull early on GU, not getting married to my bias, and then GK had a nice little winner to end the day. So that was my week. I ended up, as you can tell, 2.35%, I believe it was, overall, if you had these numbers up. Right, so started with the loss, but bounced back. How do you incorporate the Asia range? I like using the Asia range breaks for confirmation before looking for trades. Yeah, I don't like trading inside the Asia range. I do prefer the Asia range break. But if there is risk reward and there's a nice powerful move, I will take it before the break. Question, do you have a dynamic risk strategy, e.g. lose a trade, then half the risk, etc., etc.? Yes, I do have I don't risk the same every single trade. I am risking bigger on my base setups. Less trades, bigger setups. Bigger in my base setups. Do you ever hedge, James? Yes. Hedge. Oh, hedge as in buy and sell the same currency pair? No, I don't do that. No, I stick to my bias. I don't chop and change. No, I don't hedge, brother. Can you explain GJ for today and how you would have entered? I did trade GJ today, as you can see. I was smaller risk today, 0.49% profit. We will have to wait until next week, Soko, to speak about GJ, because that's obviously going to be on next week's call. But yeah, or on ASFX TV. You can check me on ASFX TV. I will be speaking about it on Wednesday, live on stream as well as Friday, but I will cover it in my weekly review next week, live here on YouTube. But yeah, that was my week. As I said, a solid week. I appreciate you guys being on live with me. We will have these every single Monday on YouTube, 3 times a week, 3 times a month, and then ASFX TV once a month. Appreciate it. But yeah, that's all for today. Appreciate you guys being on the live. A solid week. Bigger in my best setups. Less trades. Bigger in my best trades. James, do you ever manage trades in the middle of a candle, or do you always wait for the close? I do manage trades in the middle of the candle. If I'm at my profit target area, like 0.5 R in profit onwards, I do look to manage. Yes, I think sometimes you can get sparks, particularly when you are in a more volatile market. So I do look to manage. If I'm at profit targets, guys, I always have these wider stop losses. I always have my rules. If I go up 0.5 R, I'm looking to take some off. If I'm going drawdown of negative 0.5 R, I'm looking to pull out some trades as well. Managing risk on both sides. Because if you're aiming for 0.5 and you're cutting at 0.5, guess what? You still have a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, right? But yeah, appreciate you guys. We will see you then on ASFX TV on Wednesday, and here for my weekly review next week, Monday. Cheers, guys.